Hi everyone, Dr. Lisa here. Today we're going to talk about heavy metals. You may have heard in the news recently that there were heavy metals found in some juices that were being sold at stores. So what are heavy metals and when should we be concerned about them? Well, heavy metals, if you think back to science class and the periodic table that was probably hung up in the room, they are metals that have the higher atomic weights, higher densities, and higher atomic numbers. They occur naturally in Earth, in rocks and plants, water and soil as trace elements. There are two types of heavy metals, essential heavy metals and non-essential heavy metals. Essential heavy metals are ones that our body can use. It actually needs some heavy metals in order to do all of the functions that our body does. These are going to be iron, zinc, copper, manganese, tin, and cobalt. Non-essential heavy metals are going to be the heavy metals that our body does not need to do any types of functions. These are cadmium, chromium, lead, arsenic, and mercury. They also appear naturally in Earth, and they are released into the environment by wind and even things like volcanic eruptions. They're byproducts of industrial production, things like steel manufacturing and mining, and even certain synthetic pesticides and fertilizers contain non-essential heavy metals. So it's the industrial release of these heavy metals into our environment that are causing some toxic levels to start showing up. So what makes a heavy metal toxic? Well, basically it's when it builds up to unsafe levels in our body. We can actually get these heavy metals through the air that we breathe, through water, polluted water, through contaminated food, and even through things that we're putting on our skin. Because of their high degree of toxicity, these metals can be of significant public health concern. In high doses and repeated exposure, chromium and arsenic are carcinogenic, meaning that they can cause cancer. Cadmium can cause degenerative bone disease, and mercury and lead can damage our central nervous system and affect cognitive development and function. So how can you protect yourself from heavy metal toxicity? Well, many health experts believe that genetics and family history play a role in a person's ability to detox these metals from our system. And so you want to minimize your exposure to non-essential heavy metals in the following ways. Eating foods that are grown either organically or in a certified natural way. Filtering your water, which is not only your drinking water, it actually would also be the water that you shower with, because we absorb more things through our shower water than our drinking water. Eating wild-caught fish and shrimp, which you can actually find locally. You can find wild-caught salmon at Aldi, and you can find all kinds of wild-caught fish and shrimp at Costco. And you want to avoid the types of fish that naturally have higher levels of mercury in them. That would be swordfish, orange roughy, and ahi tuna as some examples. You want to avoid lead-based paint, which is easy these days because we don't really allow that anymore. And when you are needing a filling at the dentist, you want to opt for porcelain fillings instead of amalgam fillings. You also want to use cosmetics from a company that is very strict in their standards when it comes to heavy metals, so that you want to make sure they are testing every single batch of color cosmetics that's coming in from their ingredient suppliers and looking for either no levels of heavy metals detected or as low as possible. The FDA guideline for lead, for example, in our color cosmetics is 10 parts per million, but we know through independent lab testing that there are products on the market that have as much as 240 parts per million of lead, almost more than 20 times the recommended amount. So because we know that this is not being regulated at the government level, it's important to find a company that is regulating themselves and providing you with a good, clean product. So tell me in the comments, what are some changes that you might make based on the things that we talked about today with heavy metals?